Hello and welcome BitMonger family. Monger with you here today. Hope you guys are all doing well. So, we have had some serious turbulence with our Bitcoin and our crypto this past day. And it has not been looking good. I hope you guys were prepared and I hope you made money on this trade. I had told you that it was probably going to be going back down to test those lower lows of that Liberation Day dump around 74.7, and it went back down there, and it actually dropped below. If you're paying attention, you know good and well that it dumped hard, and then it went a little bit below that, and then it had a nice bounce, and we're currently trading right around $76,500. We're still not back up at that 78,500 mark, where I'd like to see it get back up to, but so it's looking weak, guys, and we gotta be honest with ourselves. Bitcoin currently just is not getting any love, man. It's just not getting any love, and I think there's a lot of people that are in the know are weary. I mean, some people are saying it's going to bounce, we're going to get that rally, and honestly, I am skeptical of it, and the reason why is because gold continues to rip, and man, I'm happy about my gold trade. I mean, I timed that thing. I stepped in right around 4,500. It's trading back over 5,000. I'm nicely in profit. Just that trade alone is up really nicely. Over, what is that, about $1,800 in profit just on that trade alone. And I continue to hold it, and I'll watch it. We'll take a look at the gold chart in a bit, and I'll give you my ideas on that. There's a level that I'm looking at where it needs to break, where I will become a little bit more confident about, being happy about being in that gold trade. And if I see it get rejected from that point, I'll probably maybe take some money off the table since I'm in profit, but we shall see. Long term, I am still very bullish on gold due to the geopolitics and just so much uncertainty in the world, and we can see that gold has been where the money has been moving. And right now, unfortunately, it hasn't been moving into our digital gold. And there's something I want to take a look at. You're going to see a narrative popping up, if you haven't already seen it, about this. And that is, this is our last grasp of hope. This is the ISM. And you'll see a lot of really big influencers talking about this one, about how Bitcoin's correlated to this, and how when this thing breaks above 50, Bitcoin should start pumping. And this just came out. It was kind of a shocker. It beat the estimates, and its current, I think it was at 52.7, call it 53, 52.6 it says here. So this has gone up, and we can see that Bitcoin has absolutely broken from all the other correlations that people have thought before, about it being tied to gold, about being tied to the M2 money supply, those things, which everybody had been very confident that there was a correlation with the stock market, all of it completely fucking broken. And we have to be honest with ourselves. So this is our last chance, really, of hope. And until I really see it, I am skeptical. I think a lot of people are aware that there's a lot of potential downside. We got some serious risk, guys. There's something else that's also causing me concern on why I'm weary of being optimistic on Bitcoin now. And I think we all need to be taking a look at this. So here we have it, guys. Now look at this, guys. This is going all the way back to 2022. And we can see this is the long-term trend line that I drew, this yellow line. We can see it's touched it here, it's touched it here. and we are currently really, really high. And there's a possibility that this could have, I believe this is overdue for a correction. And let's take a look at how far this thing could potentially drop if it were to go back down to that trend line. If we were to drop it from right here, from where we are right here, I take it all the way down to the trend line, right there. We're looking at roughly a 23% correction for it to go back. Now, remember, it could go back down and touch this trend line and still be considered to be in a bull market, even though a 23% correction on a large asset like the S&P 500, you know, this fund, that would be dramatic. And you can you imagine what's going to happen to Bitcoin if this thing drops 23%? Generally speaking, Bitcoin does double that. So the idea of this happening, and I don't think it's going to happen, I mean, but it's not out of the realm, guys. You know, if it drops, you know, could it drop 15%? Could it come down here and drop down to here? Absolutely. I mean, that's at 5,000. Let's take a look at that. What's that? What would that be? That's a likely point where it might come back down to would be this, or around here. I do have this blue line here. This is one area in the sand where I think it could potentially possibly hit this lower low. If it drops below that, this point right here, that is where I would be like definitely wanting to probably get out of it, get out of the market. But I believe like currently where we are right now, you know, we're in a precarious place right now. That's how I see it. And let's just measure it from here to the blue line to this lower bottom here where it could easily correct to. We're looking at roughly a 5% move. So that would be about, probably call it a 10% move on Bitcoin. But let's take it down to this line here, this top right here, right? This top right here. If we were to take it from there, we're looking at roughly an 11% drop, 12%. So that's not that would not be out of the norm, and that would be taking us back to, you know, February 25th, 2025, roughly a year back. If it were to draw back down there, I could totally see that happening. So that would be, you know, that's roughly 12%. That would be, say, 24% off of Bitcoin. And let's take a quick look at Bitcoin as well. I want to take another quick look at this, and I want to show you something. So here, guys, this is the 200 on the weekly moving average. It's looking like right around 58K. And that's why I told you guys, I would be looking to, you know, I got an order right down here because historically it does come down and touch this. It often dips even below it. Let's look at another one, rather than simple moving average. Let's look at this other one on the exponential moving average. If I show this one, the 200 days here, and that's at about 68K. So that's another point where I would be looking to put an order in. So, you know, 68, 58K, definitely nibbling points. And honestly, Bitcoin, you know, could easily do, I think Bitcoin has historically done a 70% drop through past cycles. So if it were to do that again, we're looking like at around a 40K Bitcoin price. Will it happen? I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know, but that is possible, guys. I don't want to be sounding like, you know, I don't want to be scaring you guys, but honestly, we need to be realistic and we need to be prepared for the worst scenarios. And that's why I've been saying, have some cash on hand. I'm going to be, you know, I sold some stocks. I'm building my cash position. I do think that this could be, that we could be experiencing some tough times ahead. Now, People are going to say that ISM is going to run us up, but I'm not that optimistic, guys. I hope I'm wrong, though. Trust me, I hope I'm wrong. I have no problem being wrong at all about this. I'll happily be wrong about it and jump back into the market when I see things getting bullish. But right now, I'm fearful. I'm absolutely fearful based on everything that we're seeing in the markets and where the S&P 500 is, and how, if that dumps, we know Bitcoin will follow along with it. And I don't think it will be spared. We have all those digital asset treasury companies that bought Bitcoin at some very high prices. I think their average price was like around 90,000. They're deep underwater right now. And if those guys, if it drops much further, I would not be surprised if they start to dump them. And if they dump, that could cause an absolute cascade in the price. And let's just hope to God Saylor doesn't have to drop any. And I know there was someone inside of his company had talked about at some point that they might sell some, even though Saylor says he'll never sell. I think that's not true. And hopefully we don't need to find that out, but we got to be honest with ourselves. You know, if that does happen, it could get really, really dirty. And let's go ahead and take a quick look at the Bitcoin chart. So as I mentioned, it's currently trading at 76,500. We can see it drip down. It actually dipped below this trend line. Here's the Liberation Day dump, where we came out with those crazy tariffs. And I'm sure Trump and his family made a huge amount of money when he made that announcement, because they knew the markets would nuke, and they probably were shorting it and made a ton of money. But anyways, we can see it actually dipped below that before we got a bounce. And the BitMonger had a nice short on it. Unfortunately, let's move it to this 15-minute chart. We can see where it was. Let's move to the 15-minute. And we can see right about, it was right around here. You can see where it was leveling right here, guys. And when it broke this level, came back up, and then it broke down below it, right below 78K. And I luckily was, I didn't have my order in. I entered my short like right around here, like I think it was like around 77.85 or something. And I wrote it down, and I made a fucking killing, guys. I put a big levered bet on it. It's probably one of the biggest scores that I've made in my trading career, that I just made last night when that thing broke. And I also threw a levered long on it when once it got rejected down here and started coming back up. I got in on a levered long, and I'll show you it in a second. When it was around 73, I think it was like 73.6 or something like that, where I stepped in and I reversed my trade. And I've made a ton of money the last couple of days, guys. It has really been going well for me. But right now, it is looking very uncertain. I would like to see Bitcoin get above these levels here for me to start getting a little bit more confident at this stage right now. But we're not there yet. We're kind of in a weird point right now. Looking at the stock market, we can see futures. We can see the S&P and the Dow is slightly green. NASDAQ is slightly negative. We'll see what happens there. Gold is ripping. Man, I'm so happy about that gold trade. And the market's certainly definitely uncertain. Guys, try to play it smart. Hopefully you're doing analysis. Hopefully you're not one of those dumb fucks that just kind of, shoots in the dark and does no analysis like some people I know. And you're actually using some charting tools, and you're examining the charts, doing analysis before you pull the trigger, and you're managing your risk well. Remember, the number one rule in crypto is risk management. I have actually fucked up some big times. I had an Ondo trade that I absolutely fucked up on. I let it go down. I didn't have a proper stop, and I lost quite a big chunk of money. Luckily, I got out of it before it did this more of a massive dump, but it's still at stump. So guys, remember risk management. Make sure that you got a stop loss. Make sure you have an invalidation point. Have a strategy. Don't be one of these dumbasses that has no strategy. Okay, very, very important. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that gold that I was talking about. So gold. So here's gold right now, and it is at a critical point right here. Let's move it to the daily. Let me pop that out. Okay, so here we are, and this is the point where I am looking at. Let's move it to the 4 hourly. I think that will be better. Okay, yeah, this is better. Look at it. So we can see this is where I actually entered it. It was a great entry. I wrote it up, and this is the point where I'm looking at where it could be really, really critical, where I might be looking to potentially either, if it gets rejected, I may take some profits off the table. But we can see right here where it ranged right here. We can see it dip down here, it dipped down here, and it hit this mark. That's right around $5,100. That's a critical point on the gold chart. We're getting real close to it right now. And if it breaks above that, that will be bullish. And, you could expect some more upside. Perhaps it will break above it, come back down and test it, and then I would expect it to bounce. Otherwise, it might just come up here and touch it and get rejected and come down. But due to all the uncertainty, all the shit that's going on in the world right now, I suspect that this will continue to go up. So anyways, that's a place where if you don't have a position, you might want to consider, going into it, but have a tight stop loss. If you're using leverage, have an invalidation point. So that's what's going on with gold. Let me show you my trades. So here we have that Bitcoin long perp. That one got closed. I put quite a bit of money on this one too. This one was a few $100s, but this one was the big winner, guys. 7x, 40%, and I put a lot of money onto this trade, and it made me some serious fucking bank, guys. I am really happy on that. In terms of my health, that could certainly be better. My skin is still all fucked up, and hopefully I'm on the mend and it gets better soon. But in terms of making money, man, shit, guys, I have just been fucking killing it. Really, really nice. And it's important that you guys, make the effort, try to learn. If this is something that, like I said before, if you make the effort and you really study it and you try to hone your craft, this can be a way to make a living and live a life of, I would call it, freedom, but you don't need a boss. I mean, you can actually make money doing this. Now, there's some people out there that think that they can do this, but they don't want to put the effort into it. They don't want to make the effort. They don't want to study the charts. And you want to be realistic. It's very important that you be realistic. I was just talking to another kid today, an ex-student of mine, and he was talking about coming over to Thailand and, being a digital nomad. And I'm like, well, generally that's a pipe dream. Make sure that it's something that you can actually do before you make the jump. Because a lot of people, they think that they're going to do something or they can do something, and it's a fucking pipe dream. And they're also not willing to make the effort to make it happen. So before you make that jump, make sure that you are consistent and that it's proven, because you don't want to move over to a place like this without having some sort of track record or proven ability that you can do something. Otherwise, you might just be smoking fucking the hopium pipe. So work hard, have a proven track record, and then go for it. All right, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Monger on.